In a world where information seems to travel at the speed of light and traffic at a snail's pace, where the agenda of those at the helm doesn't always reflect the pressures on the streets, where the rubber hits the road, where there's queue of issues needing to be interrogated in the name of speaking truth to power.
Welcome to a place at the table,
where we set the agenda,
table the issues that matter to you,
and invite you to take a seat at the table.
Welcome. Surprised to see me. My name is Hamzat Lawa, but please call me Hamzi. And I've been given a seat at the table to discuss challenges confronting Nigeria, that of rebuilding trust.
Hamza, we should be the ones welcoming you. Good to have you join us. I'm dealing with an urgent challenge. I'm saying starving and dying Nigerians are out of time. They need food now.
Absolutely spot on. Aisha, you're welcome back. It's good to have you. And the beat goes on. I'm dealing with a matter that affects mostly African women, the ghastly human rights violation, and that is female genital mutilation. I've titled it To Cut or Not to Be Cut.
Not to be cut, though, I beg. Life is hard enough without us depriving our fellow human beings of wholeness. I'll be speaking on the decline of greatness. Welcome back, Ego.
Thank you, Bright. Are we not all addressing symptoms of the same decline of greatness? I'll be tackling the matter of our terrible reputation abroad, the stringent visa requirements, and the poor treatment of Nigerians internationally.
With all the warm greetings flying around, I'm feeling truly at home. Time to begin the housekeeping. As I said earlier, my name is Hamzat Lawal, an activist, a global citizen, and a grassroots campaigner. I currently serve as the Chief Executive of Connected Development, CODE, a leading African civil society organization empowering marginalized communities. I'm truly honored to have a seat at the table, recognizing the fact that addressing Nigeria's challenges requires a holistic approach, transcending individual interest. We must confront core issues fueling public discontent: economic hardship, corruption, insecurity, and inadequate public services. These challenges severely impact millions of citizens, driving demands for change and reform. The Nigerian Constitution, African Charter on Human and People's Rights, and global examples emphasize the importance of freedom of assembly, association, and expression. Protests are a powerful tool for expressing collective grievances and demanding accountability from our leaders, reminding us that the voice of the people is paramount in a democratic society. Peaceful protests can galvanize public opinion, attract international attention, and pressure the government to implement necessary reform. However, they must be well organized and coordinated to maintain law and order. The Nigerian government in recent times often appear reactive rather than proactive in addressing these pressing issues. Now is not the time for political correctness or exploiting public sentiment. Instead, it is time for the government to connect with the people, showing empathy, communicating openly, and building trust, even when difficult. The National Assembly must reform into a platform for genuine debate, moving away from closed-door approach that fail to reflect the true needs of Nigerians. While we agree on the current challenges, what's most important is how we organize, how we communicate our grievances in a peaceful and lawful manner, fostering a peaceful and united people and country.
For me, it's so important that the government communicates with the people. You are not there of your own accord, even if you were there of your own accord. But you are serving people. You are supposed to serve people. You are there for people, not for yourself. That is where we have missed it in Nigeria. We have been missing it for a long time. Accountability. Who holds you accountable if it's not us? If it's not the people? And who will address grievances? It's the people that will talk to you. Now, there's no way or there's no avenue for people to address their leaders. Where do you find local government chairman? Where do you find your governor? Where do you find your senator? Where do you find your House of Reps? Forget presidents and VP. Those are the ones that are closest to you. How do people even reach them? Are they accessible? So protest is the right thing to do. When people feel that they have exhausted all avenues, they have tweeted, they have sent mails, they have sent letters, they have called you, they have spoken to you, seen you face to face, and nothing, then, of course, yes. But yes, I agree that it should be well organized. But then you cannot take away the fact that in the government being reactive, they might want to send some agents in there to spoil things, so it looks as if it is the people's fault.
Protest definitely is a very democratic process.
Yeah.
It is part of a democratic process. People should be allowed to protest peacefully.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, if there's no other way to, share grievances with the people that matter, the people that are supposedly closest to us, then that is the only other option. Peaceful, I will always say peaceful must be the way, but you cannot stop people from protesting peacefully when their rights or whatever grievances they have not been addressed. And you mentioned something that is also very key, communication.
Yes.
There is actually no other way to communicate. You must share, first of all, government, politicians, everyone in positions of power must show empathy.
Yes.
Then you must have a way for people to communicate with you. It is crucial.
I think I want to address this from different perspective. There's something about this current administration that makes it look like it's an attack on them, right? And I want to make this clear from my perspective. It is non-partisan and it's not personal.
Yeah.
It's not, right? Recently, first of all, I feel like there's a huge disconnection between the leadership and the people on it.
Absolutely
And
is.
this is not just this administration, generally, just leadership in Nigeria.
That's why I
Once you
said
get there,
somewhat,
you get disconnected somehow. That's why Hamza is connecting with his connected
connected grassroots.
But the key thing here is, so recently, and I'm also putting myself in that space, right? It's not just leaders, not just the leaders up there.
Yeah.
Recently, now I have, my breakfast is very organized, right? I got 2 eggs and bread and tea in the morning.
See,
right?
Hey!
You guys wait now. So normally, we go shopping, get everything that we need for months, and then it's there. Comes to mind is like, oh, there's no eggs have finished. I'm like, okay, instead of you going to go and buy a crate of eggs, just go and buy 2 for right now.
Today,
When we go shopping, we can buy more. So I gave him money.
It's not enough.
It's not enough. I'm like,
for 2 eggs.
For 2 eggs?
Yeah.
It's not enough. I'm like, are you joking?
Yeah.
And so, because we're so disconnected, we always feel like, oh, it's about us. They don't like what we're doing. It's not about anybody. People are suffering.
Yeah.
People are hungry.
Yeah.
And I think the final point for me is the empathy part, right? You have to be able to connect with your people on the most local way.
Yeah.
For me, I think I would take this from the point of where we keep talking about peaceful protest, and we seem to exonerate the government, and we just put everything on the protesters.
Yes.
Oh, you have to be peaceful. And Nigerian protesters are actually peaceful, and the ones who come out to peacefully protest are the ones who are always attacked by government. Anytime you see violence in protest, anytime there's destruction, the Nigerian government is the perpetrator. The Nigerian government will use the security agencies, and their security agents will be the one that will organize all of this violence and will sit down and supervise it happening. We saw during NSAS where police vehicles were actually used to carry talks. We saw DSS vehicles being used. We saw military vehicles being used. We saw state governments bringing vehicles bringing in talks in their vehicles to come and attack protesters while the police were watching. So I think when we keep talking about this peaceful protest and then putting it on the table of the protesters, we are actually victimizing the victims.
Yes.
We saw on October 2020 that the Nigerian government behaved like a terrorist government in coming out to use arms and use guns to kill protesters who were merely singing the national anthem and waving the flag.
Maybe they need to sing the new one.
The thing is that for now, when I see people talking about all of these protests, the people who are not protesting peacefully are the ones who are kidnapping us, the ones who are killing us, the terrorists, the bandits, the kidnappers that are out there. And every day, they dare the Nigerian government.
And nothing is done.
And nothing is done.
Yes.
It is those citizens who come out, who say, because when citizens come out to protest to you, that means they believe in you.
Yes.
I won't protest to a government I don't believe in. So when they come out, they're simply saying to you, we believe in you, we think you can solve our problem, and we are coming here, we're coming to tell you, and what you need to do is to come out to listen to them, talk to them, and begin to solve the problem. We see people are hungry. Egg, Bright, you're on another level. You dey chop two egg.
I'm not
You dey
hungry
wish.
lunch.
But within this period where people are not feeding, let me tell you something also. There's a recent report that came out where families are now using grasses. They are eating grasses. They can't afford food. No, I'm telling you, yes, they can't. They are now eating grasses. Within this whole time, the government is on a spending spree. The National Assembly is spending money. The executive, they are spending money. The judiciary are spending money. And every day they are giving the Nigerian people the middle finger. And then we are coming out to tell people that, oh, you should protest this way, you should not protest that way. They have a right to protest. Stand on the streets of Nigeria, shout the day where they want to shout. And they've always been peaceful. It's the Nigerian government that has continuously behaved like a terrorist government. And they need to stop. And we need to begin to call out the Nigerian government and not the citizens who are already at their wit's end.
Victimized.
The voice of the people is paramount in a democratic society. Shut down this voice and you are effectively killing our society.
It's either we die of suffocation or we die of starvation. Some would say, pick your poison. Dying Nigerians have run out of time. They need food now. Mrs. Remi Tinubu has asked Nigerians to start private vegetable gardens. Hey, again. I shook my head and once again pitied the poor and vulnerable in Nigeria. They are truly nameless, voiceless, and faceless. The current food crisis in Nigeria is most felt by those who do not have the luxury of private gardens. People are literally taking their children out to graze on grasses just like animals. Even those that have lands in the villages have been driven out by terrorists. The family that is living in one room with 4 to 5 children, where do we expect them to have private gardens? The answer Mrs. Tinubu had was that they should grow things in buckets. Oh, where is the space to grow anything in a bucket or buckets? Should they have these buckets in their one room, or should they have them in compounds that are already filled up with all sorts from different tenants? Let's not forget that for many in such places, their front door is where they do the cooking. Where will they even get the water to water the plants? Spend an extra hour fetching water for the plants or buy water? I've seen a lot of privileged Nigerians showing how they too are now growing their own food. We are quick to proffer solutions based on our privileged positions without thinking of the underprivileged. Mrs. Remi Tinubu, like many other privileged Nigerians, have the luxury of private vegetable garden. As for the 4.4 million Nigerian children reported to be struggling with acute malnourishment, many with kwashiorkor, along with 600,000 breastfeeding mothers, they don't have private gardens where they can plant the food they are currently in dire need of. Even if they had, they do not have the luxury of time to wait for the harvest to feed. Time for them is fast running out. And anything short of policies that immediately tackle the hunger crisis in Nigeria and ensure that those that are starving get immediate relief is spitting on their dying bodies.
You're right, Aisha. It's policies. We have to strengthen those policies. I know that we have policies around food banks, soup kitchens, but the government also has to introduce a policy of some sort on subsidizing food, you know, making food available for people that need it. subsidizing staple foods like, maize, gari, and all of that, and making sure in those policies that it gets to the people that actually need it. I think one of the things we're good at is also coming up with, there are some policies that already exist, but ensuring that they get to the right people is always such a challenge. We must have these policies not only in place, but ways to make sure that they implement them properly. And then supporting the food banks that already exist. I know that there's some food banks that exist, but the government has got to play a more decisive role in terms of making sure they have resources to be able to get the food to the people that need it. We're just not getting there. You remember all that footage, I think during October 20 as well, where they found those warehouses.
Yeah, food.
Yes. So the food is
and
there.
some people that use it for birthday
Exactly.
parties too.
And so we have to make sure that this food gets to the people that need it.
Are you hungry, Bright?
We have to make sure
Because you don't have to egg today.
that those substitutes, that we put these substitutes in place so that, the farmers, you can pay directly to farmers and make sure that they get something, and then make that food affordable for the Nigerians. It's not even a case of affordable. We just have to make sure that the resources are put in place. Food banks, soup kitchens, support the NGOs that already do this. If there are governments in different states that already do this, support them. Because we need it. People are literally, as you said, children are dying.
Yeah.
Those that are not dying are severely malnourished.
Yes.
So we have to do something. The optics of starting a private garden at this point is not the first thing. The first thing is addressing the need.
First thing is
what you said is so true. Who has the time now to wait for a harvest when you're starving today?
Like I said,
today when they're starving. So you have to get to the policies that already exist. Let's build, real concrete, not only support, but actually make sure that these things happen.
Let's even pause and reflect. These are the future of Nigeria that is being malnourished. I think our leaders are totally disconnected from the reality.
Yes.
They're living in bubble.
Bright said it.
Once they get into office, they start living in bubble and they speak as if they're not in Nigeria. Totally disconnected from the reality. Today, people cannot go to farm because of insecurity.
Exactly.
We have arid land, we have fertile soil, but people cannot go to farm. Now we also forget the effect of climate change, where the weather condition has changed. So you're saying we should have gardens, we should grow in buckets. Do we have buckets? Now you're talking about water. How many communities and people have potable drinking water? I think that this is a time for reflection for our leaders. That you are there to
It's not reflection.
No, it's action.
We have past reflection.
My sister.
Action.
We have past
can't be
reflection.
reflecting. People
I'm
are starving.
telling you, there's no time to reflect.
The first things first.
Food
Action.
in the belly.
Food in the bellies.
Yes.
Then reflect on getting water to all those communities. I have no problem with even farms.
Yeah.
Urban farming. It exists in a lot of countries. There are countries that we can, study, like Mumbai, Cuba. They do that already. But the action is action now. We don't have time to reflect. You talked about
There
our
are no
future.
staples.
There are no staples. These children are starving. They're dying.
Do you know how much a bag of rice is now? Rice
You
used
can't
to be
even be talking
staple.
about- exactly.
The easiest thing for you to
Kate,
eat is
right
rice.
now, I know the price of everything.
Rice,
Gari,
yam,
Gari,
staple, gari.
They're even cutting yam.
Gari that
People have
will
to
make
buy
you
them.
fill up. You
To sell.
you
Sell.
will,
Buy one
you will
yam.
put gari in water and let it swell. You can't even buy the gari to let it
Put
swell.
it swell.
I'm not about to become a farmer. That's the truth.
Sure.
It's not my job to be a farmer, But I also recognize that there's something that Lagos State is doing on subsidized. There's a subsidized market there.
Yes, that they offer.
Yeah, where people can go and buy things
foods
at a
cheaper.
discount.
Yes.
We need more of that.
more of that.
We need more of that. When I
Yes.
was listening to your advocacy about dying or suffocating, I said this is not a case of all dying or die. Dying, this is a bad dying.
Yeah.
And the people are so. And the thing is, when they are tired of suffering, it's you and I that will come and
Of
meet.
course.
Yeah.
They will enter our houses
They will,
and get the
yes,
food in our
because
houses.
you are the closest to them. The other people have police. That's if they don't attack the police. It is dire on every side. I don't know how somebody can try and couch it, soften it. It is a hard place. We are between a rock and a hard place. And this is not about handouts, about 50,000 naira, 20,000 naira every month. It is not enough. Even the time they used to share food, it doesn't get to the people. Because now is the time for all of us to just tighten. All of us, not just the people.
Yeah.
We need the top to just, can they calm down? Be calming down.
For me, it's just really sad, like Hamza said. If you really are connected to the people that put you in that office, if you can put yourself in their shoes, and that's what leadership is about.
Yeah.
You've been able to
Connect.
reposition yourself mentally and say, okay, how does this feel?
Yeah.
Like, if you're able to do that, I'm not even talking about the presidency right now, because let's even go back to, because the governors and the other people, they used to hide behind presidency, because that's you know that's what Nigeria will attack.
Yeah.
When it comes to food, for example, like you said, Lagos State is doing something to subsidize food. Governors play a major role. We didn't just vote presidents. We voted governors, we voted House of Reps, we voted senators. They have
Local government.
They have a role to play.
Yes.
And they are the one closest to the people the more. These are your people, right? How do you drive past with your long convoy and see people on the street begging and you don't feel anything? Do you understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it comes back to just empathy, just understanding.
Just have a heart.
Just have a heart. I understand that, there's certain kind of responsibility that comes with you being in that position. But if you don't have that heart, it's a waste of time.
Yes.
Politics has become so privatized that they think that it's their right.
Right, yes.
That's the reason why they don't communicate.
Yes.
Why do I have?
Why do I have to answer you?
I gave you 2 bags of rice when I was.
Yeah, I gave you 2 bags. I gave you 5K.
How do I get my money
Yes.
back? If Hamza goes into office right now, you will see the change, because without him being in office, he's doing stuff to support communities.
Already.
That's what we need. We need people who really on their own are like, you know what, I'm going to use my money from my pocket to solve a problem.
A society that caters for the privileged and neglects the less privileged will certainly fall short of its capacity for greatness.
Hear, hear. Loud and clear, Aisha. How much more when inhumane practices towards a section of that society is justified in the name of culture, religion? After the break. To cut or not be cut. The violation of a woman's right over her body. FGM, also known as female genital mutilation, is a harmful practice that has no health benefits and can cause severe physical and emotional harm. There are 4 types of FGM, from the removal of the clitoris to removal of the labia minora and majora and a stitching of the vaginal opening. FGM is practiced in over 30 countries, mainly Africa, of course, Nigeria inclusive, the Middle East and Asia. According to UNICEF, over 200 million women and girls have undergone FGM worldwide. In a recent BBC article by Busra Muhammad, an FGM survivor opted for reconstructive surgery to get her life back. Samsha Sharawi has become famous within the Somali community across the world for speaking out against female genital mutilation. In a video to illustrate what happened to her vulva when she was age 6, she cut off the petals of a rose with a razor blade and then stitched it up what was left over, like that of a flower. The TikTok post went viral with nearly 12 million views since it was shared 16 months ago. Somalians don't talk openly about FGM. Never mind the problems that can come with it, like painful periods, the difficulty in urinating, the agony of having sex, the dangers and trauma of giving birth when one's vulva has been cut off totally and the vaginal opening has been narrowed to a tiny hole. Through online crowdfunding, Miss Sharawi managed to raise £25,000, that's the equivalent of $32,000, and underwent a 4.5-hour procedure in December. Clitoral reconstruction is covered by public health insurance in Belgium, Finland, France, Germany, Sweden, and Switzerland. However, in Africa, where the majority of girls and women who have undergone FGM live, access to surgery is limited to Kenya, where patients must pay around £1,000 and Egypt, where non-governmental organizations can cover the costs. FGM is a very harmful practice that violates human rights and has devastating consequences for girls and women. It is essential to continue efforts to end this evil practice and support those affected by this practice, because we all, women especially, we deserve to have a good quality of life.
I think I'd like to start because...
Please go.
I mean, I'm starting because I need to understand. I need some clarity, right?
Yeah.
Is there a purpose for this? Like, what is the history behind it? Why is this thing happening?
I don't know the history,
there's
but
a
there's
purpose.
definitely no purpose to it. It's some traditional practice
a
over
purpose.
time.
Religious.
Yes, please. Oh, yeah, the purpose is, they say, is to curb promiscuity, promiscuity, so that you are not a loose girl, and that it will help you deliver safely.
Which is wrong.
Yeah.
All wrong. That's the purpose, they say. But there is no medical, scientific backing to it whatsoever.
And this is legally done in hospitals?
No, it's it's not done in
hospitals.
hospitals. It's done in the villages, in communities.
And
yeah.
So basically, what we need to do is to raise more awareness on this so that
I think
people
this
stop.
is criminal.
I think, yeah, because like...
It is criminal.
It is criminal.
It is.
It's hidden in this whole idea of having a girl remain chaste.
That's to curb promiscuity, yeah.
And so a lot of the churches where it is practiced do promote it. And then when you mentioned in the villages, there's also research that states that a lot of the women who allow their daughters to be
Go
cut
through it, yeah.
are actually women with a level of education. A lot of them have at least primary school education.
Yeah.
And that the women who do not allow their daughters to be cut, a lot of them have not even gone through any formal education. So then you wonder why. Why would a woman who has been educated to
Who
a
has
degree,
knowledge.
has some knowledge,
Yes.
allow her child to go through that? And it's part of this hyper-religiosity that we practice in Nigeria, where it's all about, women have to be a certain way, you have to go into marriage.
But the men can be loose.
Exactly. So some churches are promoting this in certain areas of Nigeria. And in fact, in some cases, some nurses, you say it doesn't happen in hospitals, but some nurses actually are the ones who do the cutting.
But they won't do it with the consent
But
of
they
the
won't do it
hospital.
openly,
Yeah,
or
openly.
with the consent
yeah.
of the hospital. But
Right,
they
you
are
are
the
looking
ones doing
shocked.
it.
This
Yes.
is the first time I'm hearing about this.
Oh, really?
It's very
It's
rife.
very
Have you heard about it
right.
before?
In the
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
But I think
Yes.
society must condemn this
Oh, yes.
and criminalize it.
and openly.
Yes,
Every
criminalize.
female and every girl child have a right over her body.
Of course.
Yes,
God
thank
have
you,
given
Hamza.
her that
That
right.
right. Yes.
And it is mine. I have two daughters, and I can't imagine anybody
that
take a
happening to them.
razor
Yes.
or a knife.
And it's a
Yes.
crude instrument.
Yes.
No,
It is.
I know that in Gambia this was prevalent,
Yeah.
but now they have law, they have legal and regulatory framework, and they've criminalized it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think
And even just recently,
it, right?
yes, there's still people fighting that
Oh,
they
yeah,
should
there
upturn
will
it.
be.
Yes.
Even recently, the National Assembly stood their ground and said this is criminal.
Yes.
Just think about the mental health implications and the dignity they're taking away from
Yes.
these women. No, this is
That was
sad.
why this lady, she said she needed to have her life back.
Yeah.
That she didn't feel complete. And the sad thing about it, but let me let you finish.
Okay, so
Aisha.
I think when we are talking about FGM, the side of it that is not discussed is that of children, that it's done at birth. So by the 7th day or before the 7th day, they do that for us. So for myself, it was done on me. And so the FGM, and for me, growing up, I know that my daughter, nobody was going to do that to my daughter. But I can tell you some of my cousins, that was actually done
They've
to
done
them.
it?
Yeah, they did to them. I remember going sometime when my cousin had given birth, and then I was just inside, and they took the child out, they shaved her hair, and the next thing, I was like, how do you allow this to happen? In terms of religion, some people try to justify it. But I remember the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when the issue was brought up on the issue of it, they were like, there's no benefit.
Yeah.
So there wasn't any this thing that it should be done. It's only the male circumcision that there is something on it,
Medically
being done. But the Prophet was like, there's no benefit on it. There's no need for this. But if it's all about controlling the woman's body, and it affects you for life.
Yes.
So for me, as shocked as you are, my moment of shock came in when I was doing my IT as a microbiologist. So I did my IT in a hospital. And then, you know, sometimes you have this vaginal swab.
Yes.
Swab that you do on women.
HVS.
And so,
High vaginal swab. Yeah,
so
that
I was asked to go and do it.
Yeah.
And then for a lady, and so when I went in there,
They wanted to use a speculum and they couldn't.
No, she was fine.
Okay.
So I was the one, it was swab. She didn't have any problem.
Okay.
But I was shocked because that's not familiar to me. Do you understand? Because I had been mutilated. And this, so I almost was like struck. I almost came out to tell them, I can't find this thing because she wasn't caught. Of a lot of women, let me say, a lot of women want to continue certain things.
Yes.
Oh, they will tell you that, oh, it's our ancestors.
Yes.
Oh, it's our culture. And I always say to them, who are the people?
Who are
There was
these
a day I had
people?
to ask my mom, okay, so this is a bit, so my mom comes in, she stays with me. I'm like, oh, wow, you're not entering the kitchen, you're not cooking. I'm like, well, there's a chef. Okay, now we're in the chef. I'm like, oh, there's a chef who does the cooking. So why do I have to do the cooking? And my husband comes in, I'm like, oh, and then she's like, oh, my in-law, I apologize. She was apologizing. So my husband was like, what's going on? And she's like, oh, I see that your wife has not been cooking. And my husband said, why should she? Oh, my mom, you should come. And then she was like, oh, it's your husband that is spoiling you. So I said to my mom, who is it that said this cooking has to be done? She was like, oh, it's our customer. I said, who are the people? They said they are all dead. So I said, I will set a new one.
There you go.
So I think it's time for us also to begin to look at this. Let's set new culture. You don't have to say that your daughter has
continue
to
in practices
you know,
that
mutilate
dehumanize.
her for life just because you want to fit into a certain place where you say, oh, she should be chased, she shouldn't do this, she didn't do that. And I think for me, I always say there is this patriarchal arrogance that comes to this someone being chased. For you to be a virgin, it's nobody's business, even in Islam. A husband has no right in Islam to ask, a woman about her virginity. How do I want to consign you?
Women are the ones connected.
That oppose. So
women are the gatekeepers.
So they are the gatekeepers, but sometimes they're doing it for a reason. They want to be accepted. If you even notice on social media, I can tell you that there are a lot of women who are being, sometimes they try to give them gifts, gather money for them, do that because they promote certain ways in terms of making the woman that subservient. Or you must, if you are not coming out to cook, then that means you are mad. You need to
I know what you are talking about.
Because so that then they will not come, oh, we are going to raise money for you so that you are the good one. The other. I know one good. I want to sit down and gist with my husband when they start.
But what's wrong with him getting up at 4 to cook for me? Or boil 2 eggs. Like Bright has his eggs. Boil me egg and bring me breakfast in bed.
And then tomorrow, Bright will not get married and say somebody else has to boil eggs for me. I've forgotten
you wanted to say?
It is criminal because it's the Violence Against People's Act, which has been enacted in Nigeria.
Violence against persons,
exactly. But the thing is, I think there are only 13 or 14 states who have adopted it, and so we still have a lot of way to go in terms of it being enforced as a criminal act. Because, as you said, women and girls are still going through this, and there has to be a lot of awareness about just how ridiculous this continues to be, because it does nothing for you.
Even in that Edo state, there's one they do when you're pregnant. So I think, in Auchi, my husband's town, there's something they do before you give birth or whatever.
What they do?
And they came to me and they said, I'm going to do it. I said, Mike, we die here. I ain't touching my body.
You see, that's it. We have to learn to refuse totally. Anything that violates a human being, male or female, we have to... I don't know, there is enough information out there to show that there is no benefit whatsoever in having a woman circumcised and, whatever. But I hope this serves as a notice to anyone listening, any female out there. No one has a right to your body. Nobody except you. It's all for one and one for all. Either we fight for the right of every member of the society to live a good quality of life, or we are doomed to mediocrity, or worse.
To aspire for greatness, don't we first have to set out a lofty and inspiring vision? What does it mean to be great in our society today? What does it take to be great? It feels like the value of being innovative, creative, and truly exceptional is diminishing. Think back to about 20 years ago. Our main source of information were television, radio, and magazines. These platforms were highly regulated. Only the most exceptional individuals, builders, creators, and innovators graced the cover of magazines or were featured on the news. To be recognized, you had to be doing something truly remarkable and exceptional. Fast forward to today. Social media has democratized content creation. Anyone can post anything, anytime, to millions of people. While this accessibility has its own positives, it has also led to a flood of irrelevant and sometimes harmful content. There is no regulation, and it feels like the loudest voice, not necessarily the most valuable, are the ones getting the most attention. In 2016, Silas Adekunle invented the first gaming robot. In 2017, Nasiru Yamama was awarded the Queen's Young Leader Award for his efforts in creating low-cost technology to help farmers produce more crops. They were both listed on Forbes Under 30, a platform that recognized greatness in young people. These two guys are my biggest inspiration. I wanted to do great things. I wanted to be part of that community. The question is, who and what are inspiring our kids today? A lot of kids right now are dropping out of school because they don't see the value in becoming a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer anymore. Everyone wants to be a content creator because being famous seems more rewarding. We've all seen social media sensation like Hoktoa, whose antics floods the news. Why would anyone want to go through the rigor of designing or creating something remarkable if the spotlight only shines on trivial content? This shift has had a profound impact on young people. Instead of aspiring to be great, innovative, or creative, many are drawn to what's trending on social media, often superficial or trivial. It feels like we've moved from celebrating genuine achievement to celebrating whatever gets the most likes or views. So, how do we address this? You know what? I would leave it to my panel of great people to answer that question. Starting with Auntie Kate.
I said they want to blow. And I wrote also that I'm so glad, grateful that I grew up in the time that I grew up. Because I grew up with books. I still have books. I know there's the Kindle and all that, but I just can't get used to this. I'm reading, I want my hat back. I want my authors. I want my James Cohen and all the books, you know, Famous Five, Secret Seven. I mean, the games and being able to interact with people, not just online. I also said, it doesn't help when corporations promote things that don't have value. They celebrate it. They pour all their money behind it. So everybody thinks, this is where I have to go to make it. Forget school. Why do I have to go to school? Why? I'm just going to queue up somewhere, audition, and then I'm blown. And you've got to respect me. Meanwhile, you are wet behind the ears. Your brain cell is not yet developed. You have cotton wool somewhere in so many places of your skull. You cannot hold a decent conversation. Your tenses are wrong, and you're writing an abbreviation. It's something that but I guess it's because of my generation. But you see, it has also seeped into entertainment industry where if they want to give you job now, they are looking at your followers before they give you job.
Your competence.
But sometimes it doesn't work that way, because if you don't have talent, you are not professional, you are not well read, you cannot speak well, it will backfire. So Zig Ziglar said, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Now, starting on the right foundation is so key. Education is so important. It is so important. Get the education first. Get your tenses right, and then you can blow. That's my submission.
Let me just come in to say that a lot of the things that we're seeing, especially in this part of the world, is actually poverty. So it's about blowing, it's about money at the end of the day. So why go to school? Why do all of this thing? I mean, you actually see parents who are enrolling their children in college school for Yahoo. For defrauding, for scamming. There are schools like that. You don't know about that?
I don't know.
Oh, really?
About it.
Oh, there are a lot. They even have association of parents of people who are defrauding, scamming, 419. Yeah.
No, seriously?
Yeah, I'm serious. I'm not joking. You haven't heard that? Oh, wow. Okay, I'm in another world. Yeah, there are. There are schools. I mean, there was even a viral video that went out. One young boy, I think it's less than 10, that took his bath during holiday that he wanted to be enrolled, went to meet a man, he wants to be enrolled to learn how to do Yahoo. And recently also there have been a lot of videos coming out from Asaba where a lot of girls are being interviewed. You see them 16, 17, 18.
They said they want to date a Yahoo boy.
They are already dating. And they are the ones taking care of their families. Another thing also is the fact that people just don't want to engage anymore. People don't want to be intellectually engage on anything.
Which is why I like
too
the
much hard
You
work.
must talk. I want you to talk.
Yes, that's why you think we really need to do a whole lot, especially in Nigeria. Values.
How much more can we do?
Values. Parents need to do so much more.
You're right. I think, being education definitely has been affected by some of this. And, like it or not, we're living in the age of the cult of celebrity, where even people that have the work that they do is nothing to be, in that sort of light.
Yeah.
Now, everybody, even the lawyers now want to also be influencing in some way. Rather, everybody wants to be a celebrity.
Even the CEO wants to be an influencer.
Exactly. So that is sort of blurring the lines. But education is still one of the key areas where we can come back to teaching the value of these different professions. We have got to have, programs, maybe if you want to do it as a PR sort of campaign, we have got to go back to making sure that our young people recognize the value of these other professions. We've got to elevate them, celebrate them, promote them, award them, recognize them, so that if you are in tech or you're a mechanic, remember the lady mechanic? How that was promoted, there was a lot of content around it, a lot of people were encouraged. Those sort of things. Lawyers, continue to encourage them. Scientists, people that innovate, people that create things, we must continue to elevate and promote and recognize them, award them. And it comes down to it from our educational system, sort of promoting that, pushing that. There's no other way but to continue to push through. This traditional profession is still the way to go.
Good role models too help.
Exactly, good role models. So if you're a lawyer, not dancing on TikTok. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but in terms of teaching just how...
the tenets.
Yes, of that profession, that might not be the way to go. Even if you don't blow, just put in the work and, get it done. We just need to celebrate those other professions,
I think that society have lost her way. And as the day goes by, we're literally losing our ways and losing young people. Mediocre actually pays.
Yes.
Because when you do the wrong thing, you're being celebrated. But when you do the right thing, they look at you as if something is wrong with you. What are the examples that we're showing as society? What are we showing as greatness? What are we celebrating today? And one thing that will fail to make people understand is consistency actually pays.
Yes.
People don't want to be consistent.
Yes.
People want to be master of everything, jack of everything.
And they want to blow now.
And when you talk to people now, they say you're too serious. Make it fun.
Yes.
It's sad.
Yeah.
But there's something that Kate said, which is, and what she said also, which is the background of all of this. First of all, is poverty. And second of all is the fact that the companies are encouraging. Because at the end of the day, it's money, right? These guys don't care.
Yes.
All they,
You spoke about it.
Yes,
some
all
minutes
they are
ago.
trying to buy is attention.
Attention, yeah.
I said it before and I'm saying it again.
Yes, you have
because this is going
always
to
said
affect my children and your children. They should call them on the table because in China, it's not the same that they are seeing. A lot of young people who are doing amazing things project their content. I'm talking about the Tunde Not, I'm talking about the Insta blog. Project things that are actually relevant. I understand that you want to get a lot of followers like
traction? How will you get traction?
You're going to have kids. They're going to live in this same world that you're creating, and it's going to affect them too. Okay, it starts when we are young and impressionable. What is being impressed in the minds of our young today? That will tell us if our future will be great or not.
Well said, very interesting. So, taking it from another perspective, I would ask, how do we see ourselves and how do others see us? In recent times, the global perception of Nigeria has been a cause for concern, affecting our citizens' experiences abroad. Despite efforts to debunk fake news, such as the rumors about the recent visa requirements for Dubai, Nigerians continue to face hefty visa fees, stringent requirements, and poor treatment internationally. This issue was exemplified by the recent unfair treatment of a Nigerian contestant in the Miss South Africa pageant. And to address these issues, a multifaceted approach is essential. So here are some key strategies which I believe will help. So we need to resolve the internal problems. That's key. We need to tackle human rights issues, corruption, and social injustices that tarnish our image. We need to implement transparent governance policies and publicize these efforts globally to rebuild trust. We need to enhance our diplomatic relations and engage actively in dialogue with other nations to strengthen relationships. We need to participate in international forums and organizations, contributing positively to global discussions. And in terms of public relations campaigns, we need to highlight the positive aspects of Nigeria and its people through targeted PR efforts. We need to use social media effectively and other influential platforms to share success stories, cultural richness, and the achievements of Nigeria and Nigerians. We need to secure fair media coverage, and that is working with international media to ensure balanced and fair representation of Nigerian news, and to also produce and distribute high-quality content that showcases the best of Nigeria and its culture. We need to celebrate youth and innovation. We need to promote and celebrate the enterprise and innovation of Nigerian youth. We need to export our vibrant culture and entertainment industry, creating a positive national narrative. We need to build a strong national identity, foster a social orientation that promotes national pride. We also need to amplify the strengths of Nigeria, creating a positive and proud image both domestically and internationally. By addressing internal issues, enhancing diplomatic efforts, launching effective PR campaigns, and engaging with the media, we can, hopefully, improve Nigeria's global reputation. Promoting our youth, enterprise, innovation, and rich culture will help win hearts and minds worldwide, paving the way for a more positive reception of our people and our nation.
I'll start from the positives.
Okay.
If I can go first.
Yes, please.
Exporting our vibrant culture and everything good. Nollywood is doing that. Our music is doing that. Our fashion is doing that, and that's without government aid.
Yes.
We did it before they even want to take photo up with you. We have been doing it because Nigerians, I don't know if it's still there, we have this resilient spirit. When you say it cannot be done, we say, how? I'm sure there's a Nigerian in Iceland selling what, because you cannot tell us where not to go. That's why some people hate us, because we are aggressive. We are go-getters. And I really want that to translate in all that we do. But it then doesn't help when you have a government that doesn't support the people.
Yeah.
But the people themselves also go and do wrong things in other countries. So it's both ways. When we go and dupe somebody, we're running scams somewhere, it's going to fall back on us. Going through immigration is never a fun thing for me if I travel out of this country, because I keep my face straight. I'm not one of those. When I go, if the immigration guy doesn't greet me, I won't greet you too. Because once they see green passport,
Start acting.
you will just see the body language changes immediately. They think you're a thief, they think you're here to overstay, they think you're going to hide in the tunnel and want to gain citizenship. And that is because other people have gone and done it.
Yeah.
You said we should participate in international programs. We do, but how do we participate?
So when I say participate in international programs, I'm talking about meaningful international programs.
We go for the meaningful ones. We go for climate change, but how do we do it?
When you say participate, going for it is not participation.
We have to go before you participate.
No. Plan to participate effectively.
But there's a reason why you go for the international thing. It's not for shopping. Not for you to go shopping.
That's what I'm saying. So you have to plan to participate properly. If you're going for a climate change conference, it's not about taking 1,000 people. It's about taking people who understand the challenges and are going to contribute. And are going to contribute. Yes, because you didn't plan. Do you understand when I say planning? You do not understand the problem. Therefore, your going is not going to make any difference because you're just going to go and listen. You're not going to be part of any solution whatsoever.
I also wrote enhance diplomatic relations. We hear about Nigerians crying all over the world when they cannot access their embassies, when they run into trouble. You cannot try an American citizen anywhere in the world. Nigeria, they tire me. But the good thing is, exporting our cultural richness, let's talk about the Ojude Oba, which, you know, brought prominence to Ijebu-Ode and all the people there, Farouk, and it just, everybody in their moment. I think we should have more of that. And I was just going to ask, end this my comment. Is there the Arugungu Fishing Festival, is it still
existing? Yeah.
You know, you talked about the Arugungu Festival, you talked about the Durban. Government must support, amplify, and promote this because this can actually bring us effects. We're saying we don't have enough effects reserved, but this reputation building using culture, using heritage, using technology, information. You know, I said here, how do we see ourselves first? You want the world to see us great, but how do we see ourselves? How do we respect human rights? How do we respect dignity? Because if we see ourselves as people who are proud, if we protect ourselves and respect human rights, nobody around the world would trample upon us because they know how our country would come and stand to protect our rights.
Even if it's one person.
That's tackling the internal problems.
I think something we've not done well, and you alluded to it, we've not learned from our music and entertainment and movie industry. Why can't we document and research them? How did they do it? How can we scale and take it to other sectors of our economy? I think that the entertainment industry is a roadmap that can take us and rebuild our reputation. I've been to over 50 African countries. I've been to every continent
Once you say you're in Nigeria.
The first time I saw in Nigeria, say,
do you know?
How is Kate? She's not my neighbor now. How would I know? That's how much our reputation because of entertainment has gone.
Visuals.
Nigeria as a country has a very high-level reputation. Right? On the positive side. Yes, there's a negative side. But you see somebody that is doing something great. They sound British or they sound American. Like, where are you really from? Nigeria. And so because of that, a lot of people want to come and experience this Nigeria. One thing that we don't have that's not helping us back up all of those things is the fact that people have not come here to experience it yet. We need people to come here and experience. Wait now. Come here to which airport?
No, they should come to your airport that stinks.
Now, when I say come to experience, I'm saying what she's saying. Invest in this infrastructure that would attract these people to come here and experience.
Who should invest?
The government, of course. The government, of course.
I just want to get it right.
So that's one. So before you say, okay, let's bring, because for me it's not about attending. When we attend, we take money there. Finally, I've been trying, and this is something that I'm actually actively doing right now, and I'm discussing with a couple of partners, because I've attended the Forbes Summit a couple of times.
You want it here. We remember our conversation.
A couple of times, and I've tried, because I have seen two things. One, just the value that this event brings to that country, because of the kind of people that they bring in. then also just how the young people are able to connect with this high-level, intellectual, successful entrepreneurs and interact with them.
What is the worth of the Nigerian life to the Nigerian government? If you want to have respect outside, you need to also have respect in your house where your life is worth something.
That's what I said.
There is a reason why people don't mess with American citizens. You see it outside. There's a saying amongst our people that meaning that if somebody who has a property puts it in the, what do you call this thing now, ashes, put it on ashes, the person that doesn't own it will throw it in the fire. So we've not treated our citizens well, so others definitely are not going to treat our citizens well. And we've seen people who are in a position to protect our citizens actually coming out to profile them and call them names on social media. And one thing also is the fact that when we're talking about crime, Nigeria is not anywhere when we talk about scam. India is far ahead of us. Russia and Co, they are way ahead of us in terms of the number of people. But when they're talking about this, it's Nigeria that they talk about that. Black lives would not matter until Africa gets itself together economically. It's not about the color of our skin. It's about the emptiness of our pockets.
The work of building a great society takes collective effort. It starts with being a part of conversations that drive change, and with our takeaways, playing our part in our areas of influence. Let's meet again at the table. 8 p.m., same channel next week. Till that time, it's goodbye from all of us.
Goodbye.
Sayonara, arrivederci.
What are you saying?
Okay, boy.
What?